Hello, everyone. Robin and I are back for a YouTube. We have been gone for a little while, but we plan on being more regular now that we kind of have some new things to discuss with everyone. I'll just kind of go over some of the stuff that is ongoing, and then Robin will share with you some of the new stuff that we have. So we have a Kundalini group activation that is going to be on June 27th. We do have a few spots left open in that. If anyone is interested, there's information on our website, athenaintruth.com, under the courses tab. We also have some downloadable courses that are available there. Our member Q&A is also available there. So those are some continuing things that we have. We have discontinued our podcasts going to YouTube. And Robin will talk to you about where you can find that information now. We are going to continue doing these video sessions on YouTube, and that's what today will be. And moving forward, we hope to be more current with those as well. So Robin, if you want to discuss your new site, athenauniverse.com, and let them know what's available there.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Heidi. Well, what we're really doing is we're creating a platform that's more of a coaching type thing, more of a written and verbal recording service that is going to be representing the podcast and then those regular transmissions. We changed the Q&A a little bit. Rather than just giving general transmissions, we have decided to answer more questions because oftentimes the people that are paying for that service and a member of Q&A aren't getting their questions answered. And we thought rather than having Athena spend time on a general transmission, that we would actually use that time to answer more questions that would be uploaded in a typewritten form. So that's starting already to happen. Heidi has submitted those to me and I've given the answers to them. And so the members will start receiving those right away. The Athena Universe site is going to be something that offers coaching or something that really keeps you on track. So you might want to check that out. And I'm actually working on that with my son. And in the future, we plan to be adding other services to that just to get an understanding of the direction we're kind of going. The podcast really dissolved on its own. Spotify decided that they were no longer hosting Anchor podcast is where I used to do my recordings from. So it seemed like a natural thing to move that off and into another area. So it's just, and one of the other things too, people probably don't know this, but there's a system to YouTube and it really likes to have recordings to be about the same length. So Heidi and I are going to continue recordings that will be a little bit longer, not these 5, 8, 10, 15 minutes, but more like 30 to 45 minutes seems to be something that's much more desirable. Let's use that to people to listen to. So we just wanted to give you that understanding. And in the future, we're going to be offering some more live channeling, maybe like 3-part courses or things where people can actually come on and ask questions on a certain topic. And we will continue that for maybe an hour a week, 3 times in a row. So there's going to be some new things that are coming up on the website that enable people to have communication that's actually probably a little less expensive because you are in a group, and that's really the direction that I'm moving to. Got pretty tied up with a lot of private sessions. They gobble up a lot of time, and I am a grandmother and getting older. So I really don't have the time to be in sessions all the time like I would like to be. And so this actually gives me the opportunity to offer things more in a group where maybe I can cover more people at one time. So I just wanted to give you an understanding of what was going on behind the scenes. And, you know, do check out the website, look at the Athena Universe website. So we have 2 now. And then you will be getting regular podcasts that'll be a little bit more lengthy that will also always be for free. That's the information that we put out there for those that just want to have a little snippet now and then of what Athena has to talk about. And so you'll have an opportunity to do that through that venue.
Awesome. That sounds great. So we decided today that we were going to do the topic of navigating difficult or possibly not always difficult, but from time to time difficulties in relationships. And this is something that I think everyone has from time to time. Robin and I were just discussing this the other day. It doesn't have to be every relationship in your life. It can just be the same person that over and over you have this interaction with, or maybe it's just shown in little snippets in relationships here and there, just enough to show you what's still active within you. So we
Yeah,
thought that
well,
would be a
and
good
Heidi,
topic.
actually, what you pointed out, what that we found really interesting that I hadn't really even thought about, is how easy it is to identify it, even in the lineage, where you will actually see something that maybe you would overlook that's similar to the way that you experience relationships, and you'll see it in your possibly your son or your sister or your brother. You'll
Yeah.
see some of the same tendencies or interactions that are bouncing around between people that are being repeated because of the lineage passing.
Right. And it's funny because I know Athena has told us that, as the souls come in, they decide, oh, yeah, I'm going to work on that. And if they're able to release it, it can release it for the lineage, which is nice. And so it's kind of almost comical when you see multiple people in a family or a soul group that are working on a similar thing. And I just kind of laughed to myself thinking, okay, which one of us is going to actually be able to be the one that heals it for the lineage?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. So, okay. So what do you think is the underlying cause when you have tension in relationship? What is that here to show us, and what can we grow and learn from that?
Yeah. Well, everyone that is on this journey or living a life, let's use that term, they have a preference in the way that they want to feel in it. And when they are not achieving that feeling, then there becomes what you would call a conflict or something that doesn't seem to want to flow very naturally in a direction that makes you feel good. So what are you here for? You're not here to blame the person who has actually delivered a preference to you, because by viewing what it is you are viewing, the universe receives you in that negative view and then automatically lifts that to something that would be much more pleasant for you. But as you start to blame and as you start to dislike the experience that you're having, you're creating a whole nother backlash, let's use that, of things that will come to you that are not going to serve you or bring the preference in. Let's just use that term. So if you could actually just look at what you are experiencing and the way that it makes you feel, and then release the person or the circumstance or situation that has brought it to you, you can begin to heal that pattern or that way of being, and therefore get what the universe has created by what it is you have felt, you see. So in essence, if you feel as though you are not being valued or you are resentful a little bit, it would be because you hold something within yourself that is not worthy, that is not satisfied. Yeah. And so by blaming someone or by continuing to go in the direction that somehow, some way you are not responsible for what it is that you are feeling, that someone else is responsible for it, you can't really get the teaching or the message, let's use that, that you're wanting to get. So the idea is to really look inside yourself by what is evoked in you, by what comes before you, and then identify what your preference is. And then when possible, move in the direction of the preference by guiding yourself to a better way of being or feeling, and therefore speeding up that manifestation. And then also recognizing times when you're not able to do that, because sometimes there is so many layers, so much data that is piled up within you from repeating that experience over and over in you and in your lineage, that the charge of energy is so pungent that you're not able to let go of it. And sometimes just by allowing yourself to recognize, I've got this in me, I don't like the feel of it, I don't want to let go of it, and just surrendering to all of it, surrendering to the idea that in that moment you can't let go of it. There's too much there. You're too invested or wrapped up in your perception or belief that someone else has caused you to suffer. That's okay, because what happens? The divinity part of you, as we have told you over and over again, is pure conscious awareness. And when you start to view yourself with that awareness, when you invite the divine aspect of you to observe yourself, so now you're becoming aware. You are actually infusing yourself with your divinity when you just become aware of what you are doing. So it's not really about changing. It's not really about being different than what you are. It's by observing yourself in what you are. And in that observation, you allow the flow of some of the divinity energy to enter into you. And it is the one that actually makes the nice change or the shift or the release of that information that has been plaguing you or giving you a problem, you see.
Okay, thank you. So this next question, I'll ask it, and then I just want to give a little background before you answer. So are there past life connections or karmic patterns at play? And what I'm thinking of specifically is, are there situations where maybe what is annoying us, say, in a relationship in this life, we specifically were the person annoying that person in a past relationship, and this is some sort of karma balance or past life connection in that way, or is it completely different than that?
Well, everyone is living their lives, and then by how they are feeling in them, they are projecting out or producing a result or something that will be coming to them in the moment that they are. And so, actually, in the now moment, we have an intersection really of your past and your present. That's what your now moment is. Everything that you have thought in the past and everything you've projected out into your future, you're standing in it. You're in that crossroad or that place where you are actually experiencing that which you have created by all that you have felt. So it's all culminated in the now moment. And so you can at any time sit in the now moment in the way that you feel and have a pretty good understanding of how you got the experience you got and what might be coming to you in the future by what you are feeling in the present moment. And so, we could go on and on about causes and reasons and all of those things. But what we always say is if you are experiencing something that you are finding dissatisfying, there's proof there that you are holding something within yourself that is needing healing or wanting to be released from the field so that you can get the experience that you want. So I wouldn't get too wrapped up in identifying karmic loops and attachments and data, let's use that term, because none of that really matters. All that matters is, are you feeling satisfied in the relationships you are? Are you getting the result in the way that you feel from them? Or do you feel a little dissatisfied and as though you are not getting the results that you want? And then you can rest assured that those that are playing out in the movie that you are in and yourself, yes, you have had some past interactions that have brought you together. It could be in a sense, what you were asking was, did I actually do the same thing to someone else in a past lifetime? But what we would say is it's not about things, it's about feelings. So how did I in a past life feel a certain way that attracted a certain way of feeling back to me? That is the way that we would prefer that you look at it, rather than trying to identify an exact circumstance or thing. I cheated on my husband and now I'm getting a husband that cheats on me. It would be about how you felt, and every person would feel differently, wouldn't they? Everyone would draw a different conclusion in the way that they felt in an experience that they went through. So it is more about feelings than it is about actual incidences as you would deem it.
Okay. All right. So you have some relationships where maybe something goes wrong and you just think, it's better I don't have this person in my experience. Maybe you just think, I'm happier not having them. Lovingly, I can send them goodwill from far away, but I don't want to marry. And then there are these other relationships where some days you feel like that, and other days you just cannot release them. Would that be an energetic cord that's stronger with that relationship that you can't seem to fully release versus, say, with someone that you're very easily able to release? Would that have anything to do with that?
Well, what you're referring to in an energetic cord, but that would be something that you would actually agree to or attach to. You would decide that there is no way out. You would decide that you are tethered to or cannot release, let's use that term. And therefore, you would actually create that cord on your own. It would never be something that would be placed upon you without your agreement to it. Let's just use that
Mhm.
term. Everything is through agreement. And so it is to understand that when a human decides to move out of a relationship, if it is the right time or something that will produce a result that is what they are preferring, let's use that, they would do it very naturally and very in a way that would feel good. Let's use that. And so as a human tries to force themselves or effort themselves to do something and they are not feeling good as they do it, then they would not obtain the result that they are wanting. But there does come a point or a place where a human comes into a reconciliation with themselves, that they have gotten the lesson or the teaching or what it is that was needed from the experience that they have repeated over and over again. And then they would decide to move out of that arrangement or no longer participate with that person in it. So it is important when you decide that you are not containing any emotion, because this would be the cord or the thing that would tether you to the person that you are actually deciding to move out of your experience. So if you continue to think about them, if you continue to focus on blame, on resentment, on irritation, on disappointment, on regret, all these types of things, then we would look at these as cords or things that you would be projecting out that would actually keep them tethered to you or tied to the experience that you're in. But if you decided that you were no longer blaming them, if you decided that you were no longer resentful of them, you were no longer angry, that you had simply decided that the preference or what you prefer is much more important to you than resolving any type of emotion, let's use that, then you would very naturally start to move in the direction of choosing something that would be quite different for yourself in relationships.
All right. Thank you. So how would what would be the best way if you have a difficult relationship and you're having conversations with this person and maybe you see things one way, they see things a different way. What is the best way to effectively communicate with that person so that there can be some clarity or understanding between the two of you?
Well, once a person is evoked or emotionally distraught, we have talked about this before, they become unconscious. They are not able to receive you at the level of communication that you are desperately wanting to them to receive you at. We would ask that you would take a moment to yourself and that you would actually project from the divinity part of yourself to the divinity part of them prior to engaging with them, that there would be a very open and honest and meaningful exchange that was about to occur. But oftentimes a human becomes stimulated, and in their stimulation, they stimulate the one that they want to communicate with, and then there becomes this shut off or this close down. Many humans will move to the degree where they will not speak to one another for great lengths of time, or they will be very volatile in their exchanges, and therefore you're really not accomplishing anything. You're actually just growing the dissonance or the issue that you are having between you. So it would be our recommendation that you do much more intending, that rather than intending to be right, rather than intending to get what it is that you want, that you would intend that you both get what you want and that you have a good exchange in communication in the order to do that by pre-paving or looking ahead in the way that you communicate with someone that you are having an issue with, you see.
Okay. There's a lot of talk, especially in like counseling type settings, about boundaries. Is it boundaries something that one should set in a relationship, or how do you feel about boundaries?
Yeah. Well, we feel that boundaries would not, in fact, be needed if one had surrendered to the divinity part of themselves. They would be provided with an experience, or the interactions that would come to them would be something that they didn't need to set a boundary with. If you're having to set a boundary, then there is an emotional violation or something that is occurring in your experience that you are trying to prohibit from happening again. So it is to really notice where is it that you start to set a boundary. Do you have someone that is overstepping things with you that seems to take more than what it is that they should, or not offer you what they should offer? And then you decide that you are going to put some gates or bars around yourself in order to prevent that from happening. You have to understand that you have an energetic field, and whatever it is that you project out, the universe receives it in all areas of your life, not just the one that you're having a problem with in your relationship, but you might in fact put some bars up around your money coming in. You might put some bars up around your health being what you want it to. So there could be any number of things that in your control, in your belief that you need to ban or bar someone from your experience in order for you to feel good. You might actually create energy that would cause a lot of other areas of flow to be affected by that same energy that you're putting out. So it is to understand that if I come to a point where I have people in my relationships that I feel like I have to oppose, that I feel like I have to set boundaries with, it's not about them being a bad person. It's not about them being the wrong person. It's about you having some energy within you that has already created that experience coming to you. And so once again, you go inside, you go within yourself, and you recognize how is it I feel when my boundaries are violated? What is it that this one is evoking within me in the way that I feel emotionally? And then really address that in the love of self, in the understanding of why you chose to feel that. And we're going to tell you every time you're going to find that emotion long before those that you are actually opposing came into your experience. That is the result of opposition energy. You already had it within you. So if you are asking us what our opinion is on setting boundaries, we would say that you would not need a boundary unless you had something within you that was bringing people to you that would be not satisfying. Yeah, let's use that term.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because I know a lot when we're doing group sessions, Athena, you'll talk about like when something triggers you, to just feel that emotion and think, oh, I feel angry right now, or I feel frustrated right now, and just take a moment to feel that feeling. And I think I would like to kind of go a little deeper into this because for a while I felt like I was acknowledging that in times that I felt it, but not right specifically in that moment. So maybe later I would reflect and I would think, oh, I felt this anger or I felt this. And I would try to love and soothe my human through that.
Mhm.
But that moment of catching yourself, or you would call it observing yourself, right where you feel it happening, and just taking that even if it's just a second to acknowledge, oh, I'm feeling this anger right now, is really, I've found it to be pretty empowering. Not that you can always not go off the rails, because sometimes there's things that just are too much, and when you're triggered, you just do anyway. But I find that to be really helpful. So let's talk about how a person could strengthen themselves and avoid getting triggered. And is this really part of the process, just taking that step to observe the emotion?
Right. Well, some people have the understanding that an observation is coming with a condition, or that they must release something that is not wanted, or that they are deeming as negative. And that's not what this is about. We want to allow the feeling. We want to expand the feeling. We want to permit the human in its experience, in its free will, to actually kick out that feeling, and then have the understanding that this is how a preference is born. This is how I create the experience that I want. And right now I might be in a little lower energy. I might be in the 3 lower energy centers of density when I do it. So therefore, it doesn't feel good to me, or it feels negative. But none of that really matters. But we would tell you that many humans approach observation with an idea that they are going to change what is felt. And that is a mistake. That is something that you do not want to do when the human is having its free will choice of picking and choosing emotions. You simply want to look at yourself in unconditional love as the universe looks at you. You have the right to feel your experience. You have the right to be opposed to someone if you are. You have the right to feel whatever emotion it is that you're feeling, and you are never expected to immediately release it or to let go of it before you're ready. And so when you go to observation with this newfound understanding that I am simply sending my unconditional support and love to myself in what I am feeling in any moment, the human will be less resistive, and that flow of that divine energy will enter into that cell or that chakra, and it'll begin to dissipate the negativity for you, by you. That's what will happen. But it is to understand that this observation isn't to be forced. It isn't conditional. There isn't a condition that you must get better, that you must let go of something, that you must quickly get out of what it is you are in. If you attempt to do it that way, you're not going to get the result that you want. So it's a very honoring ability to allow the divinity part to observe you in what you feel with your hands up in surrender. I'm not trying to change what you feel. I'm not condemning what you feel in any way. And I'm not expecting that you get to be better at feeling. This is what a lot of people do. That I'm just really watching you in what it is that you are drawing as a conclusion. And I'm understanding that you are a tool. And I'm understanding that you have lineage and past lives and things that are layered upon you that are actually bringing you the feelings or the way that you are choosing to feel in every experience. And so there is no judgment or condemnation on the observation. And this is the thing that we find oftentimes flubs humans up. Yeah, they want to change it. They want to get rid of it. They think that they're creating backwards or wrong when they have a negative feeling, and they just want to stop it in any way that they can. And actually, you're going to grow that energy in doing that. The best way to achieve enlightenment or alignment to your source is to surrender to what is felt fully with no need to change it or condemning or judging.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's just kind of do a step-by-step process. So we're in a conflict. We have an emotion triggered. We move to observation. I'm feeling, let's use frustration. I'm frustrated right now.
Yeah.
What then is appropriate? Because if you're feeling these emotions and you're saying that your human has the right to feel how it feels, what is right to say to that person then that you're being stimulated by? Are you allowed to, or should you say anything like, I feel this way from what you're saying or doing, or should we really just take a few minutes and just sit with our own observation of the situation?
It is best if you can sit with it, because when you are in a stimulated place or way, when you try to communicate with someone, the energy that you are coming at them with in unconsciousness is probably going to evoke some unconscious response from them, because it is always about matching, isn't it? It's always about becoming the desired result to get the desired result. Yeah. And so in some sense, you are justifying your frustration, and you are wanting to place the blame onto the person that you think is the cause of it. And we have told you they are not the cause of it. You are the one that chooses your emotion, and you are the one that already has that emotion. And therefore, the one that is coming to you is mirroring back something within you. So it is not about getting them to understand that they have caused you to feel some way, and now you want them to take responsibility for it, which is essentially what you said. It is taking full responsibility of yourself. It is not going to a situation or circumstance and placing it upon someone else and getting a desired result in order that you can release what it is that you are feeling. This is an addictive process of suffering that will go on and on and on and on and on. Yeah. And so it is for you to really become accountable. It's for you to become really powerful. A human takes control in mastery by being accountable for everything that they feel, and they become awakened to how they create rather than creating asleep or unconsciously in emotion that they are feeling that they think someone else is the cause of. The whole reason that you are here is to create sovereignly and individually. You get to choose how you feel and therefore bring results to you based upon what it is you're choosing. And so take everyone else out of the equation. And we know that we have made the statement that sometimes you're not going to be able to do that, but then talk to yourself, make yourself in awakeness any way that you can. I can tell right now that you can't release this. I can tell right now that you are wanting to blame, that you are wanting to hang on to the idea that someone is making you suffer. And I don't care. I still have received you and what it is that you have felt. And I understand from your experience why you would draw that conclusion. So I'm doing anything that I can to take this consciousness and to permeate this unconsciousness. And I'm not going to do it by dropping into an unconscious state myself. I must hold steadfast to my divinity, part of myself in love and in connection in order to get some of that energy going into the human aspect of myself.
Okay. So even if you talk about, when you have negative or what we would call negative emotions, anger, frustration, or whatever, and if we are, like, say, moving from a relationship, not to take that with us because, we're just going to continue to reoccur what we tried to get out of. But like, there are some things like Robin and I have talked about where we tend to be very givers in our relationship with a lot of our close, people. And sometimes there is a desire to want to receive, sometimes back what we're giving. So it's not necessarily like I mean, maybe we're a little frustrated by it, but it's like moving forward, like if you are sending out this desire and you feel like you're giving and you have this stuck emotion, maybe of not worthy or not good enough or whatever precipitates us being givers to the point where we give too much and we're not always receiving back. How can that's a very deep, and it could be like we mentioned before in the lineage, it could be something that many people in our lineage are working on. How moving forward, if you're seeing a lot of that in your relationships, can you improve your future connections with people when you have something like that, which you don't necessarily always deem as bad? You're feeling like not worthy, and you don't know how to not feel worthy.
Yeah.
Or to feel worthy, I should say.
Yeah. And so I would say in those instances, if you really looked at the situation, both of you, if we used you as an example, there is a little bit of moving to a justification or a blame or the idea that someone is not doing what it is that you think that they should be doing. Yeah. So there is a little bit of that type of energy or that passing of the idea that you are the one that is responsible for the creation or the way that people are moving in your life, you see. And what you might find is that the person that is not serving you in the way that you wish that they were, that they are actually doing that to many different people, not just to you. Yeah. So it is their way of being or something that they continue to repeat over and over again as a stimulant. It is something that they too are learning from, and they are also asleep on what it is that their lesson is. Oftentimes when people are not participating to the level of equality in a relationship, they're going to feel diminished in the closeness or the connection that they have to those that they're in relationship with. Yeah. And so there will also be an internal blaming of those that they are in interaction with as the ones that are the cause of that, because they too are not taking responsibility for the distancing or the thing that they feel in relationship. So they would assume that if we used you, for example, Heidi, that perhaps someone you were in relationship with, because you are working at a high level to overgive, yeah, let's use that term, then those that you are in interaction with would see you as higher than, better than, more stable than, perhaps someone else. And then that person that you are in relationship would view you that way, and then it would support that way of being if you understand the direction that we are going with. So in fact, your overdoing is creating an over attachment to yourself. We're just using an example. We're not saying this is true. We're trying to
Mhm.
give people the understanding of how this works. But your need to be accepted, your need to be loved, would cause you to over accelerate or over give in your experience, and then someone else that you were in relationship with would look diminished or not be able to equal themselves. Let's use that term to those that they are a part of the same relationship or interacting in that. Do you understand? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing that actually keeps it alive is there is this resentment going on in both places. There is a resentment in the one that is not able to perform to the standard that you are, and then there is the resentment that you have that they are not able to do that. Yeah. So it is to really understand that in love and in giving, this is in freedom. It is something that someone chooses in freedom, and that you are not expected to reciprocate or to bring the same level as someone else is, because this would be conditional love, or something that would be determined by the level that you do it, means that it is the level that you should do it. Yeah, let's use that
Right.
term. And so it is to just really observe oneself in what it is you are doing and the way that you feel as you are doing it, and in the way that you are being received, and then how you feel in that reception. Nothing is really real. We are creating a persona or something that we deem as lovable. Let's use that. And so what is it in you that has believed that being a servant to everyone and to satisfy everyone's needs above your own is a self-satisfying thing that you have chosen, that makes you feel worthy, that you have chosen to feel accepted and loved. Yeah. And so it's just to really understand that. And if you love that, it's not a problem. Yeah. If that is a projection of yourself that you wish to observe and that you really like the way that it makes you feel, it is fine. But it is notifying to you that it is becoming distorted when you start to reflect back to others that they are not doing things the way that you are, and therefore you do not see them in love. You do not see them in unconditional love, that you are actually seeing them as flawed or not matching the character that you have become yourself. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say in my experience, I don't necessarily expect or be like if I were just for taking my personal experience, I don't think I expect or need to view them and have them be me or be to handle things as I would handle them. But it would just be nice every now and again for there to be notice of, oh, this person has a little bit going on. Let me see if I could
Well,
throw in something here or there to help the situation.
one of the important things to understand in relationship is that what you yourself deem as important may not be what your partner does. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so Robin has noticed this. Yeah. So she is a giver. Yes. She will make the cup of tea for him in the morning. She will offer him his vitamins. Yeah. If his neck is sore, she will offer to rub it. Yeah. All the while, she's not getting any vitamins. She's not getting her neck rubbed. Yeah. And
Mhm.
so what it is this awareness. It's this understanding that perhaps you are fulfilling another's needs with your own, where in fact, if you would start to fulfill their needs with what they actually needed, then they would be more likely to fulfill yours in what you need. Do you understand? Yeah. So what we are saying is some of the things that you are offering to others are important to you, but they're not important to them. Yeah. Would you
Mhm.
understand that to be truth, Heidi?
Um, yes, I would.
So in other words, all these things that you're doing that you're resentful that are not being returned to you actually mean nothing. They don't really care. If you withdrew those things from them, it would not affect them. They would not feel not loved by not getting the cup of tea, by not getting the vitamin handed to them, and by not getting an offer to get their neck rubbed. Certain people are stimulated other ways. Yeah, they might be stimulated by you paying complete attention or indulging them in something that they want to talk about that is meaningful to them. Or there might be some other satisfying form of communication that you have overlooked, that you are actually doing things for someone that you would prefer to be done for you, but it is not necessarily satisfying their needs or what they want.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. So can we get assistance from spirit guides or our high selves? Are they able to offer guidance or support when we're in these times of struggle in difficult relationships?
Yes, you can get support, but the perception or belief that they are actually there and that they are willing to help you and assist you on the journey that you are in is essential that that is in place. You cannot call out to the universe in doubt, in not believing, and in not trust, and expect that you're going to get the kind of communication or assistance that you're looking for. You have to do it with expectation, and then you have to act on it. Yeah, you have to be very ready to receive what it is that comes to you and receive it in truth, receive it in belief, and then act accordingly because of what it is that you have received. Robin likes to use one of her daughter-in-laws as an example that is very intuitively connected, and she likes to use her cards. Yeah. But not only does she use her cards, she acts upon the response that she gets from them. And therefore, the intensity or the ability to find solutions to her problems through the cards is greatly enhanced because of her belief and her perception and her trust in herself as she does it.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like there's so many things to apply, but it always boils down to um, loving yourself, seeing what emotions being evoked in you, especially specifically in your more closely connected relationships. Those tend to bring a stronger charge of emotion at you, kind of show you more routinely. But let's talk about like if you have something in you and I think earlier in the recording you mentioned moving from a relation, you're able to much easier move to a different relationship if you feel like you've received the lesson. And if you feel like you received the lesson, you can lovingly let it go. Okay. So what if you are someone who feels like you have received the lesson, and for whatever reasons, maybe it's what do you call it? Congruency. You're choosing an option that feels more congruent to you for your situation, but you feel like ultimately you got the lesson. You don't really want to have that lesson anymore. Moving forward into subsequent lives, then are those people able to release that if they haven't actually moved away from a situation that keeps reminding them of a lesson that they've already learned?
Yeah. Well, if they're still emoting over it, then they are going to recreate it. They're going to re-experience it.
Mhm.
It's going to roll right out with them and roll
Right.
right back in. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
why we talk about congruency or the ability to decide if I've chosen something, I must surrender to it. I must align to it with no more resentment, no more anger, no more blame, no more feeling of victimization, and no more wishing it was different than it was. I have to get to be the master of my experience and really direct myself towards what I want to feel rather than sometimes what I am looking at. Yeah. But you are very much creating, and this is what happens with a lot of people that are in relationships that perhaps are not congruent with them. You have a right as a human to decide for yourself what it is that you prefer in a person that you are aligning yourself to. And if you go against yourself continually in that pursuit, you're going to feel negativity and you're going to get that experience over and over and over again until you, in fact, decide to choose yourself or align to what it is that is chosen rather than continuing to stay in something out of convenience or out of fear. Yeah. We would tell you that a human that continues in a relationship that is not satisfying to them is not continuing in positivity. They are continuing in some type of a fear or misunderstanding of what it is that they prefer in their experience. And therefore, they are going to create something uncomfortable for themselves in the future. It's inevitable. That's what's going to happen. So it is to look at how you feel. If you are angry, if you are frustrated, if you are feeling anxiety or worry or fear about getting out of something that you are in, then you can look forward to more of same in the future, can't you? Yeah. But if you can really get congruent with what you have chosen and you can decide that there are many other things that you can apply your focus to that relieve you of the negativity that you are feeling in the relationship you are in, then perhaps you are able to do it. But we would tell you that when a human has been in a relationship for a very long time and has preferred something different than what they are experiencing, the amount of energy really that has been built up within you that is created in the divine part of you, it's very difficult to deny that flow of energy eventually coming into your field. You might not get it this life, but you are going to experience yourself at some point. We have talked about this before, that the universe culminates experiences for you based upon how you feel. And those experiences stand waiting and ready to flow in through you, through those energy centers, to be delivered in all areas of your life, depending on which area you are talking about. And you can't deny that. You can't say, oh, all of a sudden I'm going to suck that back up and take back out of the universe what I put into it. It already exists. So what happens is you become more and more dissatisfied in the relationship you are in, because that energy, that creation, is not being allowed to be expressed. If you actually allowed that energy in, and you took the move and you went out of the relationship that was dissatisfying, then you could decide at that point whether or not you wanted to re-enter it. Yeah, you wanted to try it differently because you've experienced that which you have already created in the universe in a separation from it, or you would actually move from it and not go back to it. This would be the choice that you have. It's pretty hard to deny energy. It's pretty hard to decide that you do not want something that you have already created and feel satisfied in the life that you are in. And the reason that you keep going back to the negativity in a relationship over and over again is because there is one standing that does not contain it. That's why. Yeah. So if you have to allow that to come in, you have to actually experience the newness, the freshness of a relationship that is in your desired state before you can decide whether or not you want to continue the one that you're in and be able to do it in a satisfying way, you see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you. We hope this helped people that are struggling with, these are not always just, your can be with a friend, a partner, a spouse, a child. These are all just, like hopefully helpful hints for you in your relationships to navigate. Once again, we thank you for being on our YouTube. We hope that you'll check out athenauniverse.com with the new stuff that's available there, and also our website to check out our courses and what else we have going on there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.